you've ever felt too intuitive, too curious, or too awake for the life you're living, you might just be one of us.
Yes, so welcome to Midlife with Mystics and Misfits, where we discuss intuition, reinvention, and the beautiful chaos of becoming your true self. I'm CeCe.
And I'm Jen.
Hey,
Hello.
beautiful.
Hi, my love. How are you?
I'm lovely. How are you?
I am so good. I had a wonderful
Good.
day today with my girls. I started the day with meditation. But before we get into that, with the last podcast, we had talked about bandwidth. And so now I'm so excited for you to help me. You said you'll never use that term again. So I was
You'll
like,
never
I
use it
cannot
again.
wait to speak with you. So tell
Well,
me.
it's funny because after you said it, I
Yeah.
talked to 3 more people who said the exact same sentence that you said. And I'm like, oh, the spell is out there and it's real. That was
Okay.
crazy.
I love that. Okay,
So,
so what's
so you,
what's this segment that you were calling it? What was it? Spells or
spell or truth? Spell
spell
or
or truth? Okay,
truth?
so the term
Yes.
today is bandwidth.
The term today is bandwidth.
Okay, tell me.
And do you remember the context in the context you used it with?
Yeah, I said I don't have the bandwidth to deal with it.
Right. So
Mhm.
so that's the exact sentence I heard from like 5 other people the next
Okay.
day. It was
Okay.
so bizarre. So the word bandwidth, if we dissect the word, well, the word bandwidth is not an ancient word. It's not an old word. It's
Mhm.
actually a new world word because it came about when radio and TV started up. Bandwidth,
Mm.
right? So it
Okay.
has a lot to do with frequency, right? Um, if you think of it that way. So it's not an old word, but if we dissect the 2 words, band
Mhm.
literally means to bind,
Okay. Yeah.
and width is the capacity in which you bind something. So
Okay.
when we talk about, I do not have the bandwidth for this, you're basically creating a binding spell on the capacity you have to hold anything.
Ooh. Okay, I won't use that again.
Told you. Right?
Oh my goodness. And
Yeah.
so it's actually like the reverse of what I want. I do want to have the capacity to deal with it.
Yes. So every time you say it, you're limiting that capacity because you're literally throwing a binding spell on yourself.
Okay, so what's another term that I could use to say when I'm fed up? Or I just maybe I just can't right now.
I
That's
just
all I
can't
need
right
to say.
now. I don't
I
have
can't.
the energy,
Yeah. Oh, that's it.
right?
Yeah, because I've said that before. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You just don't have the energy. So it's super interesting that it's so out there with so many different people. And
Hmm.
I'm like, I think one of the soul-led passions that I have that I probably never discussed is to help people evolve that way and like shatter the illusion of whatever that kind of stuff is that happens in consciousness all of a sudden that
Mm.
keeps everybody down and low. Like that's one of my
Vibrationally.
soul, yeah, vibrationally.
Yeah.
It's one of my
Ooh.
soul driven purposes. So
I
yeah. So there you go.
I love that. I love
Easy
that.
peasy.
Okay. Easy peasy. Well, that was
Easy
a
peasy.
not using that word anymore. Thank you.
You're very
Oh,
welcome.
okay, so let me tell you about my day.
Please.
I started the day off on the app School and did my live meditation there this morning. And
Ooh.
the title of my meditation was The Quiet Yes.
Mm.
And it was interesting because you and I, later on, right before we started taping this, had been talking about, a soul led life. And for me, it was so perfectly perfect that
Mm.
I had just reflected on and then had the people who were in the community with me reflect on that soul led life that we're all taking baby steps from the time we are born essentially to live in our most authentic selves into our
Yes.
soul's journey and our soul's truth. And so along the way, we put on many masks, right? And we
Yes.
become people that we are actually not. And something happens around midlife that we have been talking about, and which is why we started this thing, in
Yes.
because we were talking about it, and if we were talking about it, I'm sure there are many others talking about it. So
Absolutely.
I was so focused on this concept of, what is that quiet yes? And how do you start differentiating in this soul's journey rather than this kind of ego journey, which is where I think many of us are going back and forth, especially before midlife. I think something happens at midlife that we've kind of discussed, but I thought that was kind of cool that we
I love that.
yeah.
I love that.
It was something for me that, as I was reflecting on my own personal journey of going back to what was it, what all of a sudden was that wake up call that this is not this is not me. This is not
Mm.
the truth of me. And so
What was
was
it then? Tell.
it was what was it? Oh, it was
Yeah.
for me. Well, there's a few things actually, but I think the biggest thing was I just started to feel not self.
Mm.
And it felt off. It felt, I don't even know, anxiousness and restlessness in things I had loved, in the life that I had built. And there was no clear reason.
Mm. I get that.
And yeah, in disconnected in relationships that I had previously had no issues with, my career, which I loved and had such intense passion for so long. Loss of
Mhm.
interest in things that I enjoy, just things like that. What about you? Did you ever have that like wake up call that you were like, hmm, like I'm sure we all kind of go through that. I would love to hear our listeners, but what about you? What happened with you?
It's kind of the same thing. It was just it wasn't like I don't think it was an all at once thing. I think it
Mm,
was gradual,
yeah,
exactly what you said. Things no longer made sense that used to make sense. And
right.
I didn't have the words for it then. I just knew that something was shifting and
Hmm.
changing, and everything was pushing me to go with the flow of that and not to stay backwards and not to stay behind with it. So it's very much the same, relationships, work, um, literally everything.
Mm. Yeah. And so during this, building of this meditation, I was like going through again, like, where did it start? I don't have a distinct age. I don't have a distinct time, but and after that wake up call, it felt like I had this identity shift. And it was so perfect because just a couple of days ago, which is I think maybe what gave me the idea, I heard the most, and I've used this metaphor before, but
Mm,
I heard the most profound reel that I had ever heard. And it was this gentleman, and he was talking about the transformation of women in midlife. And
mm.
I think even in this podcast, if people go back from the first episode to
Oh,
now, they can see in both of us this
totally.
shift over who we were and who we are becoming. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and it was so perfect because they were talking about the metamorphosis of a caterpillar.
Mm,
And so when
okay.
you get into the Scientology nonsense of what actually happens in that cocoon, um, the enzymes that the caterpillar creates, um, literally liquefies everything, makes like this gigantic soup. So who
Oh
they
my god.
were is literally dissolved
Oh my
into a
god.
soup-like substance.
I did not
And
know this.
right? And from that, and I know because I've had butterfly caterpillars, and we've watched the stages in my classroom, but so we've really researched this, but it was so perfect when I've used this in my readings for women going through this or men going through this midlife stage of who that caterpillar was and what they are becoming. But before they can become that beautiful butterfly that flies and has this beautiful, can see in color and do all of these wonderful things, it had to literally liquefy itself into dissolve everything it was to become that.
Damn. Wow, that's powerful.
Isn't it? And so it makes me emotional when I think back to the transformation that we're going through and all of the, trying to hide all these changes and then getting no confirmations from doctors or from other people in society and feeling like you're this lone island without any kind of support systems. And yet so many of us are going through it. And
Yes, I
and
agree.
yeah, and so it's such a beautiful transformation and who we are becoming is the butterfly.
Uh,
And that beautiful woman who or man who is no longer putting on those masks.
I'm like I've got chills all up my spine. I got
Right?
chills
It
down
was
my arm.
I
That is
know.
an extremely, extremely powerful metaphor. I think this is gonna resonate with more than just midlife. I think the younger generation, there's
Mm.
a lot of them that are already going through this in earlier stages because they're meant to become the butterfly a lot
Mm.
earlier than what we are.
I think and that's the thing, and so when I was reflecting, okay, well, what did I do as I was doing this as I am doing, because it's a current thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I don't think you need midlife for this. I don't think you need
Mm,
menopause for this or,
no,
do I think that that helps? Yes.
definitely.
Um, in terms of like, you know,
Wisdom and
right. Well, think about it. All the estrogen that we have literally built our lives able to do everything, multitask, remember everything that, sexual desires, everything that we
all
can
of it.
think of because of estrogen is now gone. And
Yep.
so who are we without this?
Mhm.
Well, we're pretty damn powerful, but we're pretty
Yeah.
friggin' fabulous. But I think that the younger generations, you're right. I do think that this transformation of questioning long held beliefs, not just by maybe them, but by their families, by the
Yeah.
generations of, people that came before them, realizing that they're living in their not self, people pleasing or putting on masks in certain situations, maybe. Um,
Yes.
yeah. Anyway,
Damn, girl.
right?
Wow. This is gonna be a good one. This is gonna be
Yeah.
good.
Okay, so the first thing we did was our wake up call,
Yes.
right? Then we
Yes.
then we go through this kind of identity shedding. This is what I
Mm.
think.
Yep.
And then I don't know about you, but then then I became an emotional hot mess who almost blew up my life.
Yep, that happens.
Yeah,
Not gonna lie.
check.
Yes. Check. Check
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Well, and that's
So,
when I think for you and I back and this is I'm like 2020 all of a sudden what happened? We've talked about this.
yes, everything happened.
Right? In
That's
terms of the sensitivity of us.
yeah, absolutely. And
Mhm.
well, I think the life blowing up was before we discussed it was just before that, before
Yep.
2020, where
Yep.
like everything in our lives basically blew up,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then 2020 hit, and it was like this recognition of nothing could go back to the same.
Mhm.
It was like
Yeah.
I think that was the point for both of us where we stopped fighting it.
Mhm.
We stopped, right? And we came into this smaller surrender than where we are now, but this
Yeah.
like smaller surrender of okay, we have to start moving in the direction that our souls are calling us to.
Yeah. And do you still feel like, this emotional kind of energetic sensitivity is are you still I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm surpassed it. I do. But I feel like I'm still pulled into it with new sensitivities developing that are still happening for me. Like,
Like
I've
what?
been
Give me an example.
well, mediumship. Like that's
Oh,
brand new for me, right? So I'm
yes,
starting
yes,
to feel things more deeply. My empathy is developing stronger. My clairs are really starting to get more precise and clear for
yes.
me.
I would agree with
Um,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
I think I think that's only becoming more and more and more heightened. I don't
Mm,
think that I don't honestly, I don't even think that's gonna stop. I think that's just gonna get it like that word precise. I think
mhm.
that's gonna become like very precision based over time. But yes, that hasn't stopped. Yeah, that hasn't stopped. That's been getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. And the one thing that I know that I have talked about is needing more time for rest, for my own
Yes.
kind of filling up my bucket. So again, I
Mhm.
think that's all part of the sensitivity stuff. So,
Absolutely.
what has kind of do you feel any of that coming in for you? Like in terms of that you're very sensitive. And so like in all areas of your life. And so do you
Mhm.
feel any new heightened sensitivities coming in at all? Have you felt some
Yeah.
recently?
Yes. So fun that you asked because you and I haven't even discussed this, which is fun. So this will be new information for you.
Okay, good, good, good.
Um, well, I mean, we discussed it maybe just like a tad because I said I was going to. That was one of the areas I wanted to be more conscious of. But the thing that's heightened for me is my energetic relationship with my body.
Oh, yes.
And it's gotten so I think we talked about that about 5 or 6 weeks ago where I had, like, thrown it in. Can't remember what podcast we did. But
Mm,
since then, I've been really, like I've been really, really, really talking and then listening to my body and what my body wants and what it needs. And it's getting to the point now where it's like I'm like, "Oh, I heard you."
mm,
Like, do you know, it's been so good. It's been, like, one of my gifts that just kinda opened up. Where
mhm.
all of a sudden, that resistance I've had with my body for decades is gone, and now it's like this beautiful relationship of I need this or I need that, or my body wants this or my body wants that. And now I'm able to actually respond properly.
And so how do you do that? Like, do you actually just ask a question and then wait for the answer?
Yeah. And
Okay.
sometimes the answer comes in the way of like the feeling in the body.
Right.
That gives me the knowing of what I need to do next. Sometimes it opens up the other clairs where it comes in and I can hear and it's all my senses are now tuned in with this other sense that is going on.
Mm,
Like
I love
I'll
that.
give you an instance. I stepped on the scale and I'm up 10 pounds from being off of carnivore,
Right.
but I stepped on it and I got on and I was like and the first thing I said out loud was, "Huh, that's good." And then I got off and my mind went, "Huh? What'd you just say?" And so then I sat there because then I sat down and, I journaled a little bit because 'cause I'm like, "Well, this was interesting." Because my body relationship was like, "That's all good." And then the ego stepped in and went, "Wait a minute, we fought against that for decades. So why is
Mhm.
it good all of a sudden?" So I had this cool conversation with my body about that
Mm.
little flip that happened. And I love
Oh,
it. I love that I got on and I was like, "Oh, that's good. That's alright."
I love that for you. What a place to be in that place of comfort of self, right? And I think that's the beautiful kind of journey this that we're traveling on as humans, but especially in this phase that we're in of midlife. Because I
Yeah,
think,
like you said, SOLID.
right, we're being drawn more and more towards that spiritual, soul led life, the truth
Yes.
of us. I
Yes.
love that. The noise of all of this is just being it's quieted by the truth.
Absolutely.
Ooh,
Absolutely. To the point where the noise comes back in and is like, "I'm not being loud enough apparently." And you're like, "No, I'm good."
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So, yeah.
Ooh.
What about you? Any major, like, other gifts that you've recognized coming through? Any energies that way that you've not recognized before?
Yeah, just the mediumship one is,
Oh, you're so good at it.
yeah,
Ugh.
it's shocking actually. And it's so beautiful to be able to validate the people who've crossed over, and it's given me, and I'm going to get emotional. It's given me such a piece of, um, in my life to know that I can give peace to other people, and that I have peace knowing without a doubt that this does not end. As somebody who came from
Exactly.
my story of not believing in anything after life, and to
Yes.
now where the journey that I am, Again,
Again,
another
so good.
soul-led journey, right?
Yes.
It's so crazy to me.
We could do one podcast on just that for you. Like,
Right.
where you like, just that.
How did I get from being, somebody who didn't believe in an afterlife to being somebody who talks to dead
She
people?
she talks to the afterlife. Yeah,
Right?
exactly, right?
Yeah.
Seriously. What a
Well,
beautiful part of that journey for you.
yeah, and so I just feel such a peace in now the chaos does come in, and I just went through a major chaotic, year
Ooh.
before this, which
Yes, you did. Yeah.
yeah, and so I love and I'm grateful for the peace, but this is the journey that I see, like, when I look back, with this quiet yes of, intuition and spirituality, like, I am putting in the work, as are you. You just said, and I sat and journaled with it. I'm meditating. I'm
Mhm.
taking the time to journal. I am now doing yoga, which is literally my life is so
It's so
happy.
your life.
It is so like, I already went this morning and I'm gonna be going back after. Like, it just
Oh my god, girl,
yeah,
that's amazing.
and it's a priority, and so but here's the ego, like you just said. It's guilt that I'm taking this time for me. Like, my kids are like, "But,
Oh,
mama, aren't you gonna make dinner?" I'm like, "No, you can make
you're
yourself dinner."
you're good.
Yeah. I mean, I've made dinner every other night this week, and we're
Yep,
working on learning. I mean, my children are teenagers. They need to learn how to cook, right? And
yep.
so it's still guilty. And so I wonder if our audience can even resonate with this, that guilty feeling of I'm actually doing stuff for me. And it feels uncomfortable sometimes.
Well, there's guilt that comes with that, and then there's also, what's the other word I'm looking for?
Mm.
There's almost there's guilt, and I think there's grief that comes with that.
Yeah. Yes. That's exactly what I identified as my next step, the grief that we don't talk about of shedding
Nope.
of who
Yes.
we were, cuz that was some great shit happened back then.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it's so true. And well, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you we don't regret our lives, but it's
No.
like the grief of losing parts of yourself like that when you haven't actually lost any of it. All that shite still us, right?
Yeah.
But it's like this feeling of not being able to identify with any of that anymore. Or looking back and being like, what if I did X, Y, and Z differently? Where would I be now?
Yeah.
Which I just had this conversation with a friend of mine, and um I was like, "You know what? That whole grief process and that whole mourning of what was and what could have been,
Mm.
it doesn't serve us in the long term."
No.
And if we I was telling her, I'm like, "If you because it's something I think it's sick. I think it's like a cycle that we all go through, and I think we do it often where we have these moments where we crash down into, but what if? Like, what if we did things differently?" And it's so cute. I'll get back to what I was trying to say, but my daughter, I was FaceTiming with my daughter, and she's 25 now. She's living a life I wish I had. And she said to me, she said, "Thank you for giving up your life for us in your 20s." And I was like, and I went, "What?" And she's like, I'm very grateful for you giving your life up for us in your 20s. And I was like, I never thought of it that way. I never thought I gave up anything for you guys. Did I miss out on stuff? Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure I did. But I was like, I've never felt like I gave that up for you. And
Mhm.
she's like, "Well, you did. And I want to thank you for that." And I was like, "Holy crackers." Like, that's such a big wave of recognition. But it's when we're in it and we're looking back and going, "Well, I didn't get to do this or that or the other thing," or "I loved my life then and I wish I could still be like that." I think it goes probably both ways.
Mhm.
We bring our on the emotional scale, and I don't have you ever looked at the emotional scale of like emotions and frequency?
A little bit. Remind us. What is it?
Yeah. So there's it's literally called the scale of emotions. So anybody can Google it, look it up.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
shows you what frequency level each emotion is held at. So things like guilt and fear and sadness and grief and all is like the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
And you can't you can't be in that and then expect to be in the higher ones of joy, elation, and all of that kind of stuff.
Right. Mhm.
But there is one that takes you out of the bottom portion of it
Yes.
at any given time, and that's
Yep.
gratitude.
Oh, I love that. I have, and I don't have it here. It's in the inner work. The one that he has, he's reformulated it based on the original person who
Mhm.
created this scale. Dr. David something, I think was the original person. This was
You're
Ash.
such a teacher.
I so am.
I love it. I love it.
I
I love
know.
it.
And it was in his, it's courage. It's that flip
Mm.
between the lower vibration and then living in that soul led ego versus soul. So
Mhm.
beautiful. Yeah, that lower vibration, right? Yeah. Ooh.
Well, for our viewers and for you, I'll ask the question. Have you ever been able to be angry and in gratitude at the same time?
No.
No. So
No.
every time that you're like, we're raging or we're sad or whatever, try to do that and then be grateful at the same time and then see what
Mm,
feels better. Because gratitude will always, it pulls us out, but it doesn't allow that lower frequency to stay.
mm.
Because once you think about gratitude and what you're grateful for, you can't be the other thing,
It's so true.
right?
It's so true. And I've really, and when you say that, I look back on, I do a gratitude journal every morning. I wake up and I write at least two things I'm grateful for.
I love
And
that.
then I start my day feeling grateful. And I absolutely feel like they say it raises your vibration. And I feel it. I start my
Hmm.
day off with, a beautiful outlook rather than, oh God, I'm tired. I don't want to go to work. And
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. So I agree with you. It's grief filled and yeah, we just don't talk about it. We don't talk about the
We
grief
don't.
part of it.
No, and it holds
And
I mean, and, we've heard from some of our viewers and stuff too that,
mhm,
like, grief is held in so many different places, like, for so many different things, right? We grieve the people we weren't, we grieve the people we could have been, right? We
the time
grieve
lost.
the time lost, we grieve our
Yeah.
loved ones that are gone,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
grieve the fact that our children are not babies anymore,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, there is a lot of layers to that.
Yeah.
And no, we don't talk about it enough, and I think it's like I feel like it's almost like a nobody wants to talk about it, and yet everybody should talk about it because it's just recognition, period. There's no sentence needed. It's just
Mhm.
recognition.
Yes. Yeah. And so, in this kind of cycle that we have gone through in terms of the wake up call and where we are, I actually think now that we're talking about it, it's more like a pattern because it's like this wave that just happens. And then we kind of start leading more of a soul led life. And then whoop, here comes another wake up call. And we got to go
Yes.
through all of the transformation and all of the, the grief of losing the things that we thought we should have had or did
Yes.
have. And we just get more emotionally sensitive. And, and then it just starts again, kind of like waves. Whew,
Yes.
I
Well,
never
that's
thought of it like that.
literally that's the journal that I'm creating with journal prompts
Yep.
is literally about that. It's literally from dark, stormy waves into calm shorelines. So
Ooh, I
it's
like
it's
that.
gonna help bring people through that because that's all life is, I think. Like you just said, that's all life is. It's
Do
just
you have a
waves in
title
it.
for it yet? Do you have a title for it yet?
Not yet. Don't
Okay, so I just got a hint.
okay, don't say it on here. You gotta text you
Okay.
write it down.
I got it. I got it.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because it feels to me like, as we are now moving forward with each wave, living more in alignment, let's just say, it feels to me like we are gaining these skills to help us do that. So I guess I can think of a few things that I do. Like we talked about this on another podcast, boundaries. We have speaking my truth. I mean, as somebody who was diagnosed with thyroid cancer,
You
Nothing says
know.
start talking like, having issues
Yes.
in the throat, right? So
100%.
these are the waves that have been coming, and way before perimenopause, it was something that was, the one of my waves. So I love that analogy, and I love that you're going to do that. I cannot
That's
wait.
so crazy. You said that, it came out of your mouth, and I was like, "I can't believe she's talking about that specifically." Of course
um,
you are.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm way more spiritual now, way more creative. I make time for play. Like, what
Mm.
kinds of things do you do as you get closer to this? With every crashing wave, if something new is coming, like what do you see in yourself as more in alignment?
More playful, more lighthearted, more,
Mm,
yeah, like, I was never a person in the house who would tell the joke because I've got Chris, and
right. He's
Chris
funny.
is he is friggin' funny,
He
right?
is
But
hilarious. Yeah.
I'm pretty hilarious too in moments, but
Me too.
I would always keep that closed off, like,
Mm,
completely, and when he was home last week, we had a few moments where I had some good quips, and
love
I
that.
he was like, "I'm not gonna laugh," and I was like, I was dying. I was laughing at myself so hard because I was like, I felt light and I felt playful and I felt safe enough to do that, and I think after about the fourth one, then he was like giggling along with me, and I said, the part of it is I'm like, I finally feel safe enough to be able to be that in the house, and he was just like, "You're always safe with me," and it was so beautiful. But it was like this. That's what it is. It's like it's almost childlike. Like it's
Mhm.
almost like who you were before you had all the crap that happened,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like, and I've heard other influencers talk about it on TikTok and stuff, and it's like the older you get, the more the you go back to the things that made you happy as a kid,
Mm.
and there's
So
nothing
we've
wrong with that.
so I guess essentially we start out as soul led individuals,
We do.
and somehow along the way, so here's like, well, how do we not do that? How do we make sure that
We
we stay authentic and in alignment? Like,
Well, I mean, that's not I don't think that's something that we get to choose because we're brought into the world to learn certain things, but I think the
mm,
more conscious more consciously people raise their children, the more generations to come will be led and will grow up consciously in an environment that allows them to continue to foster to be that. And I believe we're seeing more and more and more of that.
mhm.
I always joke with my daughter, I'm like, "By the time you have kids, they're gonna levitate by the time they're, like, 3 months old," like,
So
right?
true.
Like, it's gonna be so different, but I
Yeah,
think that's we couldn't avoid again, we you can't avoid your past, you couldn't avoid, going through the mud, right? Because that's what
that's true.
got us to this point, that's what got us here, and there's no tragedy
Mm.
in that. So, I don't think there's a good answer to say it can't be done, it's just we keep raising conscious human beings.
I just want to bypass the bullshit.
Right? Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. We all do. We all
Yeah.
do.
I don't
But
want the
that's
difficult. No, thank you.
no, yeah, exactly. No, no,
Yeah,
no difficult. But in a difficult, we have beautiful learning, right?
that's true. Okay, so I have a question for you now and for our viewers.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Oops.
Okay.
I'm
Why
like,
do you ask these questions?
her
Okay.
questions are always so deep. Okay, go.
So if fear wasn't in the room, fear wasn't in the room, what would you have already chosen?
Bah. Don't, I want,
And go.
and go. Oh my
I know what
God.
I can start because I have already, I think, admitted this on here, actually, on this platform.
Okay,
Mine
go.
is my
Uh,
career. If
Yours is
fear
your
wasn't in
career.
the room, I would have quit my job. I would have sold my house, and I would be living in a mobile vehicle of some sort, traveling the world. And yeah. But
I love you. I love you so much.
I want to be a gypsy hippie of some sort and
Mm.
just live off the land and meet beautiful souls and just live the last 50 years of my life in yeah, in unrealistic waters.
I love that though, but they're not it's that's not unrealistic. It's so crazy. It's so crazy that our
Yes.
fears that we have are so
Yeah.
not unrealistic. They're just
Well,
not. It's so crazy.
no, I know. I will do it, just not yet. So that's
I
if fear
know.
wasn't in the room, I would choose to do that rather than wait 5 years until I retire. What about you? Do you have anything that if fear you're very courageous. So I don't know, maybe
Well,
you're
bless you for thinking so. I think my kids would have alternate versions and views on that.
no.
Um, if fear wasn't in the room,
What would you have chosen? And for
what
all the
what would
viewers,
I have? What would I have chosen? Or oh, fuck.
what would you
Mm.
choose? What would
This
you choose to do?
I hope we have viewers out there that want to throw up like I want to throw up because
Mhm.
this is like gag territory because it's like you have to openly and honestly admit
I
what
know.
what 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 you would choose or what you what you would have chose.
She's like, "I
What
don't wanna answer the question. I
I
don't
don't
wanna
want to
answer
answer
this."
it. I don't want to answer it. I'm like I'm super
What would
fidgety.
you have already chosen?
Oh,
If
what
fear wasn't in the room, what would you have already chosen?
mm, God, I
I
don't
know.
know. There's too many.
Even if it was
I,
small. Even if it was small.
I think if fear wasn't in the room, I would have chosen to never have gone away from being seen online.
Ooh, can I just sit with that for a sec? That makes
Yeah.
me immensely sad when you said that.
I know, it's gonna make me super emotional too. What the frick frack? Um,
Really? Okay,
yeah, how weird ooh.
that's overwhelming. I love that you just were so vulnerable to thank you for sharing that. That's really
You're welcome. You're
yeah.
welcome. I didn't realize I was still carrying that, to be quite honest. I
Ooh.
love your questions. Good teacher moment.
Well, it's I love that you just went there because it's and I love that you actually sat with it. Like, where in your body are you feeling it? Because I feel this heaviness right on my chest right now for you.
Yeah, it's like right on my chest. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
No,
actually
every
like
thought it's coming
on my
out.
entire abdomen. Like it's
Yeah.
from chest like all the way down.
Mm. And
So,
so what do you mean by you wouldn't have left your online
presence.
presence?
I um I downshifted into I had a massive presence for 2020 to 2022, I think. And
Mhm.
then AI did burn out a little bit. But 2, I think I downshifted into all of a sudden going, "Oh, like I'm being seen by millions of people." And all of a
Mhm.
sudden it became too much for I don't know if it was my body or my soul or my ego or whatever decided that it
Mm.
was too much and I just stopped. I don't it was almost like it was almost like I realized how much I was being seen and that
Mhm.
became too uncomfortable and I just went, "No, I'm good."
Yeah. Do you think, and this is maybe just a reframe, do you think it was one of the waves that you went through in terms
Of
of
course it was. It had to be that way. Of course
yeah,
it was. It had to be that
yeah,
way. I'm a
shedding
very
that identity has allowed
yeah.
you to become this now, right? Like
Yeah.
you took time away. You
Mhm.
focused on self instead of being in that spotlight. You 'Cause
Yes.
that's the thing, that's the one thing that I've realized in this kind of as I get into the soul and the part of the identity shifting or shedding is I actually need a lot of time to rejuvenate. So do you think that maybe that
It was
kind of
yeah, it was needing to rejuvenate. It was also it became a heavy space in the way of because it was my daughter's influence that helped me get to that point, and
Mm.
she was young, so she in I mean, 2020, what's she so
20?
she was 19.
19. Mhm.
She was 19 at the time. So, her follower base that she had was 19 and below, and
Right.
then mine was the same plus up to probably, like, the 30s, but because I was her mom and I was online, I got a lot of distressed children reaching out. They were
Mm.
distressed in their home life, they were distressed for so many reasons,
Yeah.
and I wanted to help everybody, but at the same time, it became so heavy. And
Mhm.
then I think I went into after I did that, then I went into a lot of guilt because I'm like, "Oh my god, I left a lot of these kids behind."
Mm.
But I'm like, at the same time, I couldn't carry it all. I just did not have the energetic being to be able to carry I mean, I was barely carrying myself at the time. And
Yeah.
I wasn't practicing my spirituality at the time. I wasn't practicing the things that I do now at that time because if you go back and look at me online, it was all about cooking and it was all
Mm.
about food and feeding the family and nourishing the family and everything else. And I was like, I'm not nourishing myself at all.
Ooh. There's the identity shedding.
So yeah, so definitely wave
Yeah.
crash. It
Yeah.
yeah.
Ooh. Okay. Well,
Whew,
thank you for sharing that. That
you're
was
welcome.
that was
Heavy.
good. Yeah. No, that was
Yeah,
perfectly beautiful.
that
All
was
right.
big.
So I think my biggest takeaway is that midlife isn't the beginning of the end. It's actually just like a return to who we were or are at our soul level.
Yeah, it's
Before
a
the
ret
ego, before the masks, before the um, identities that we've
Mhm.
put on. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
sit in reverence for that. It's a return to home, and the
Yeah.
home is yourself. Like,
Yeah.
it's I often sit in reverence of that because I'm like, the when you're in the moment of feeling like you've returned home to yourself even a little bit,
Mm.
that's enough to sustain you for a long time, right?
Yeah. It's such a
Till
peaceful feeling.
it's such a peaceful feeling. Yeah.
Mm.
So I hope I hope our, viewers resonated with a lot of this because
Yes.
I'm like I said, I've heard from a lot of people, they're going through the same things, so
Well, if you're still here, stay curious, stay intuitive. And if you're feeling like a misfit, you're probably in the right place.
yes, you're probably in the right place. So thank you for being with Midlife with Mystics and Misfits. Go smash that subscribe button, comment, share. We love to hear feedback, and we're going to catch you the next time. I'm Cece.
Okay. I'm Jen. Bye bye, babe.
Bye, babe.